Good morning, everyone. This is Larry Rybacki, president of SIGMA Corporation, at least for now. Today I'm here to talk about my future plans, my semi-retirement, because I'm not going to fully retire, but my semi-retirement and the next chapter in the SIGMA saga. You know, it's really hard to put 48 and a half years into 20 minutes. It's very hard. I've been so thankful, so blessed. You know, our daughter, we just had a wedding in the family. Our daughter Leanna married a guy named Joey Budio on October 18th, and her sister Larissa was the maid of honor. And during her maid of honor speech, she looked around at the 188 people that were there in attendance at Lord Thompson Manor in Connecticut, and she said, "Thank you, waterworks industry." And I thought that was so poignant. Thank you, waterworks industry. The waterworks industry has given me and my family more than would ever dream of. And it's given a lot of the SIGMA employees more than they would ever dream of. So it has been a wonderful, wonderful industry. And once you're in the water industry, you tend not to leave. And so we'll start from the beginning, and I'm going to try to make this, I'm going to skip a lot of stuff. I'm going to forget a lot of people that I need to thank, but I'll do the best I can. When I got out of college in May of 1977, I started immediately for a company called NAPCO in Northborough, Massachusetts, 2 miles from where I lived. The company was called North American Pipe Products Company. It only had 8 employees at the time. And it was started by two guys, one guy named Chuck Roach and another guy named Bill Chase, who were my real mentors. I was actually going to go to law school, and it was Chuck Roach that drove to UMass and talked me out of going to law school and said, "Hey, why don't you give this a chance, and I'm going to make you sales manager of NAPCO." Sounds great, doesn't it? Except there was no salesman. I was sales manager of myself. So I used to look in the mirror and tell myself what to do for the day, and that's how it all started. But basically, since the beginning, I've lived by 3 rules. One is the golden rule. You treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Number 2 is you never ask anyone to do something you wouldn't. And number 3 is everyone is deserving of respect. You respect everyone, and you're thankful for all the employees, for all the people that are working on the side, the people that help make you and SIGMA what SIGMA is today. So never forget that and treat everyone with respect. And that has worked throughout the year. I never forget it. You know, and try to remember your roots. Everybody should remember their roots, where they came from. And having said that, the waterworks industry has provided some unbelievable Horatio Alger stories. People that started small and became icons in the business. You know, I've had several mentors besides Chuck and Bill. You know, I consider Victor Pace one of my mentors. Victor's been wonderful to me and my family. Partners Siddharth and Mark were both instrumental in our development, in my development, but Victor was really kind of a catalyst. Victor is Mr. Positive, always got a smile on his face, and always thinks the best. You know, only Victor could sit down with Bin Laden and say, you know, he's really got a couple of good attributes. That's Victor Pace. You know, that he's always been like that. He'll die like that. So he's been a great mentor too. But I'll tell you that really, when you look at a microcosm of my career, microcosm of the industry, I'm going to get emotional. It's hard. Is our tournament, the Rybacki Memorial. Since my dad died 33 years ago, you know, Chris and I and my sister, who's passed, and my other sister and their families, we've tried to create something to give back. I'm a big believer in giving back. And so is Chris. And we just, matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, the Senate gave a check to a guy named Dr. Paul Richardson, who was the head of multiple myeloma at Dana-Farber, for $174,000 for one day. We've now given over $1.5 million to cancer research through the Rybacki Memorial. The Rybacki Memorial is special in so many ways, not the least of which is the waterworks industry is literally the foundation of the Rybacki Memorial. You know, I look at all the people that participate and support us. You know, Harry Hornish was one of the first ones. You know, the Morrison family and C.I. Thornburg, Dave Wickett and his family, and I look at U.S. Pipe, and I look at Howard Smith and Ryan and Jerry and the support that they've shown, and Tom Brakefield before them. And I look at American, and I look at American Cast Iron and AVK, and I look at John Hagelskamp and his team, and Jerry Burns when he was there and his team, and McWayne and Kevin Benzie and his group, Mike Dodge and his group. It's one day, whether we're competitors or not, everybody gets together for a good cause. Everybody. And the distributors. It's the day when Core and Main, Ferguson, EJP, Fortiline, you name it, they're all there having a couple of pops, laughing, having some fun, and raising money for a great cause. And I'm so proud of that. And it's really, waterworks is the foundation of the Rybacki Memorial. And it's been near and dear to my heart and will continue to be. So all you folks out there, A, I'm not fully retiring, and B is I still need your support in the years to come. That's why I can't retire, because you guys will forget me too easy. The other thing is talk a little bit about what's, you know, my retirement. I'll have another podcast with my heir apparents. SIGMA could not be in better hands than it is today. You know, as Victor, Siddharth, and me, and Jeff Marcus passed the torch to people like Mitch and Greg Fox and Mitch Rona, Greg Fox, Joe Webb, Don Muller, as we passed the torch, and of course Mark Carpenter, who is our new CEO, Class Act, Amit Chartery, another great guy that started with us, Frank Fershing, the Wind Point folks. But we're in really good hands. But I want to talk about my end of it. The water end of it is, you know, 85% of SIGMA's revenue. And it could not be in better hands, and has been in the hands of Greg Fox and Joe Webb for years. Greg Fox is a Southern gentleman, a class act, treats everybody as his equal. He could not be a more straightforward, honest individual. He's smart, he works hard, and he loves what he does, and he loves SIGMA. Joe Webb, his right arm, when I hired Joe Webb, it was kind of funny. I put him through the ringer. I asked him if he was, I looked him in the eye and said, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Are you a convicted pedophile? He said, no. I said, are you a terrorist? Have you a known terrorist? No. I said, well, congratulations, you got the job. That was his interview. I gave John Taft the same interview. They both passed, and they're both working for us. And they've both been working for us for a long time. Now he is the national sales manager, soon to be VP of sales. Greg will become the president of Waterworks Distribution Sales, and he is so qualified, and Joe is so qualified. We're not going to miss a beat. We will not miss a beat. It's because what we created. You know, you always admire bench strength, and we've got some bench strength. SIGMA is in great hands. I think one thing we've always done, you know, we've tried to create a family atmosphere at SIGMA. You know, we do things sometimes that you think are wrong. And the 2007, when we sold to Frontenac, it was October 10th. And why do I know that date so well? Because the stock market tanked the next day. In the industry, Frontenac actually bought us at the wrong time. Unlike Wind Point, who bought us at the right time, Frontenac bought us at the wrong time. And as a result, things went downhill quickly in mid to late 2008, and 2009 was a nightmare. And then we were, Frontenac we had Jim McGivern as our CEO at the time, who had kind of replaced Victor. And Jim and I kind of steered the ship. And it was not easy. But Jim did a nice job of fighting through it. And it was very, very difficult. And the industry was sort of in a tank. And, you know, you really learn in life. You learn in life, not from when times are good, but when times are bad, the measure of people. And I was so proud of our folks. When times were bad, our people stuck together, continued to come to work every day, and continue to give it the best effort, and things stunk. Our sales were off 35%. And my fault, I will say I'm going to give myself the lion's share of the blame. I wouldn't lay people off. And every time Frontenac said, hey, we got to take $1 million out of payroll, or $1.5 million, the first name I'd put down was mine. And they said, we can't do that. I said, well, let's get rid of the expensive guy first. And they said, well, we can't do that. I said, well, I want to do that. Then they just let it go. One thing we've always created is SIGMA is a family first. We're a family. That's why nobody leaves. We hardly lose anybody. And that is going to continue under Mark Carpenter, Amit Chaudhary, and the Wind Point folks. That will continue. It has been a wonderful, wonderful career, and I'm going to continue on as a goodwill ambassador, coach, cheerleader. I'm going to still show up at certain events. I'm going to keep the office open. I'm going to try to do what Greg Fox and Joe Webb want me to do, and because they've earned the right to lead the ship now. But I'm going to still be a big part of it, and I've invested, to show you how much I care, or how much I think about it. Victor, myself, Siddharth, Mitchell, we've all got significant, and all the key players, Greg, Joe, Don, we've all got significant money back into the business. We want to make it succeed. We want Wind Point to be a success, and I know they will be. So, wonderful career, and I'd be remiss, see, I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the most important person that kept me going for all this time, and that's my wife, Chris. Raising a family when your husband is running all over the world, which I have, and especially throughout North America. I've been to all 50 states. I've been to 10 provinces, 2 territories. I've traveled extensively. When you've been to Saskatoon in the wintertime, you're a waterworks warrior, and I was a waterworks warrior. And Chris kept the family. We have 4 wonderful kids, Michael, Larissa, Gregory, and Leanna. They're best friends. I like to think we've done a great job, but especially her. So thanks, Chris. You're much loved, and we go off in the sunset together. Thank you.